As Milena said, we are new to this network, and I'm really glad that you guys wanted us to join, and I really wanted to share our ideas and what we do now at Linæus University. And this is our group. We start with that. You see, those are 8 people. We're actually now 9 since yesterday, so I didn't upload the picture of the 9th person in the group. We are a happy bunch of people with very different backgrounds, from educational technology to psychology and pedagogy and data, computer science, physics, and analytics, and teachers. Many of them are teachers. So that's one of the strengths of our group. So we're looking at educational technology from different perspectives, trying to bring together the perspective to ask, like many of the people presented before us, big questions and trying to give some sort of answer to that. Just to show you where we are, Sweden is a large country in Europe, but so this is the European Union here, and you have the Sweden here. And on the right side of the picture, you can see that Sweden, the University of Linnaeus University, is situated in the middle of Sweden, and it's 2 campuses, Kalmar and Växjö. We are based in Kalmar, but we have 2 large campuses. The university has 32,000 students. It's a large university between the 2 campuses, and it's not the largest one in Sweden, but it's a very new university. So it's been only 10 years. It was different colleges before. They made it into a university, and the studies of the university has also brought more research and PhD students, of course, and other positive outcomes to the university. So we focus on three different areas of research, and we want to, of course, study to see how digital resources can be used to support different learning approaches and education and teaching and learning in any sense. And we really want to understand if we set the focus on trying to find values that EdTech can afford to teachers and students. So our focus is teachers and students and parents, of course, but how can we work with technology companies, EdTech companies, and with the research to bring values to them? And so we focus on technical research, pedagogical research, and organizational research. Pretty much you're going to hear things that you already heard today by other presenters. So when we look at the technical research, we are trying to develop better technology. And I want to stress the fact that we want to develop better technology. It's not so much that we want to develop the technology ourselves, but we do that in collaborations, long-term collaborations with companies, EdTech companies, to try to help them create or develop better technology. So we don't do the technology ourselves. We do the technology, but we give the technology back to the companies so that they can improve their products. And we try to do it not just a single thing that they want to know, for example, usability of something that's not interesting to us, but we're really trying to work on long-term research. So we try to create agreements with them and working on 3, 4, 5 years where we can do long-term effectiveness of the educational technology in the classrooms. The pedagogical research is, of course, trying to understand how, when, and whom, and of course, why the digital technology can facilitate the learning processes. So this is where we look at the applied part of the research. You know, for example, if you have we talked about technology, we looked at some of the technology that the companies does, and we want to now bring into the classroom. So we talk to teachers, we talk to students, we're trying to apply what they do with sorts of experiments, and so we can use any methods in that sense, from quantitative to qualitative, trying to do also randomized control trials when it's possible. But so this is the more applied part of the research. And then we also have the organizational research. So this is how can we implement the pedagogical research or the technical research into long-term practices. So how can we bring changes, like some of them have mentioned, human and behavioral changes or organizational changes into the school environment, if it's the class or the school or even the region. Since in our cases, in Sweden at least, you have the municipalities are responsible for many of the schools in Sweden. So you have like one municipality that has is responsible for 100 schools or 40 schools or 20 schools according to the size of municipalities. And so we work on the different level from the classroom, of course, all the way to the micro level where we talked about the municipality. So we look at the implementation science, which is one of the methods that you can, well, is a set of methods. So it's like the toolkit that Peter was talking about earlier, where you can use any of the different methods. I think there are 150 methods that you can use to bring changes into the organizations. And this is also why we do long-term research and not just one single study. So those are some of the, I have to mention that the group is new. I mean, it's been formed only since this year. And like everyone else, we started the group right when the COVID struck. So, I mean it, the 5th of March, we got okay from the dean of the faculty. Now we have the okay to create the group, and you have all these people that want to work with you, and you create the platform. And the day after, we got the information. Okay, now everyone has to stay home. So it's been kind of uphill. Trying to create organization. I do believe a lot of management. So like design thinking and all these things. I like to work with them, but it's not the same thing as doing workshops physically and trying to do the same kind of things online. So we've been creating actions for the groups to do anyway weekly meetings that we can help each other. But anyway, so even though it's a very new group, the people working in the group are not new to educational technologies. They've been working with educational technologies for, like myself, 20 years or something. But so within the little time that we had a couple of papers published where we're trying to understand, we look at the visual learning analytics. So this is the technology part of that I was talking about, where we have now access to digital learning materials from 3 different companies, 2 to which we have an agreement with. The third one is we are in the talk of now creating and making an agreement. So we look at the data from the digital materials. So those are like subjects materials, mathematics and everything else that you have in the school, primary and secondary schools. And we now trying to make sense of the data, since the companies making the data, they have not that much experience of what actually they have in their hands. They collect data all the time, but they don't really know what to do with the data and how to analyze the data. So it's the interesting part that we go in with them and trying to clean up the databases, trying to make sense of them, trying to find standards on how to then work with databases. Those are two of the publications. Artemis is, if she's here, she's the one that has written about these articles. And so now we're trying to visualize learning by using different statistical models. And those are some of the pictures you can see where you can detect learning activities and behavioral activities of the students on using the digital learning materials. I'm not going to go into details, it's not important right now. Those are 4 of the projects that we are building right now. We just started. And as I said, it's not too easy to do any projects right now, not at all. And I think it's just what we can do is doing surveys. And so we're making now, trying to do moving more on the survey side before we do any applied research or before we do any interviews. So one is more on technology. The other one is about how to use the technology in the classrooms. So the applied research, and then the other 2 are how to organize all this kind of continuing professional development and the use of data into a systematic way, so that we can help teachers to make the best of their teaching for the students, and also for rector, for principals of schools to understand what they can do for the teachers, for the classrooms, and for the schools with the data. So it's very much systematic way of using data and of doing continuing professional development for improving teaching and learning. The other part that we have right now, we have a master in kind of educational technology, but it's not really. But so now we have revamped the whole master program, which will start in September 2021. And this is a master in educational technology. I'm really proud of the work that we've done so far, because we are going to create a new set of competencies for EdTech, what we call for EdTech strategists. Those are not consultants, but they're people with the key competencies that you see here on the slides. So that people that can lead digital transformation, understand digital transformations in the school or in the educational systems anyway. It doesn't have to be school. It can also be like, for example, EdTech company. Using different kind of methods. One of them, as you heard today, is like design thinking, which is a very entrepreneurial way of thinking projects and leading projects. Implementation science, when you want to implement something, you want to make sure that you follow up and you make a strategies to for long-term strategy to how to apply different things. System thinking. So you talk about the micro, the meso, and the mega, and the micro, meso, and macro levels of things when you want to bring changes and digital transformation. We also talk about procurement. This is one thing that some of the presenters today talked about it. There's not so many people, at least in Sweden, for when you want to buy something, since it's the schools is part of the state or the municipality, you have to go through a procurement process. And it's very a strenuous process, and usually the principals should be the one doing that kind of process, but they don't have any clue, and so they leave the process to the teachers who have even less knowledge about procurement. And so this is one of the key skills that they are going to learn, because we know that they're not proficient in that. And so you can have companies selling products, saying lots of things about wonderful product that they have, and not knowing how then to do with the applications or whatever things they buy, and they don't use it. Strategic digital competencies is also, again, something about leadership and how to use digital competencies in on the principal levels. And then, of course, we have projects together with EdTech companies. So the things that we do it together with EdTech companies. The students in our master will go and work with different companies to use this design thinking or any other strategies to learn more about the process. So the idea of the students are not just teachers. We want to have people with different backgrounds. Teachers is one of them, but also people working in different companies, EdTech companies. So they want to have the other expertise on how to use pedagogy and how to use digital tools in education and support. And here you can see some of the courses that we have designed. modular, so they're only 5 points, and they can be open to even other people in the, they don't have to be taken by students doing a master, but they can be, you know, if you only want to take one course, you don't have to take the whole masters. And it will start in September 2021. And I'm definitely interested in talking about different possibilities of exchanging students, because I've seen that many of the programs you have exchanging students between the campuses. So I'm interested in that too. Okay, there was actually the Educational Technologies research group at the Linæus University. We have a new web page. You can see the link to that, where we talk more in details about the research we have, and you can read more about all the projects that we have and the collaborations. And as I said, I really liked all the presentations so far. I can see lots of synergies, and I'm just hoping that sometime next year we will get closer, more face-to-face, that we can discuss possibilities of collaborations, and both on research side, but also on the innovations and the pedagogical part. Right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Italo. Great meeting you and knowing you a little bit closer, because we spent some time having our call before the ISP, but getting a little bit more into details, it's really interesting, and to know what you are doing, what your team is working on. I think that one of the ideas that we have to think of is how to compare the newly created EdTech Masters, because for example, in case of Alison, I think all the students that are joining from UCL are from the UCL EdTech course. The students joining from Oulu University to the ISP, they are also from their course in education and entrepreneurship. So that would be really interesting to compare how the different masters, what do you offer, what each university offers, and what the differences are, and after maybe some time to analyze what the outcome is. I can see that there is a question in the chat from Lucia. What kind of companies do you collaborate, partner with?
Right now we have 2 companies making the digital learning materials for children all the way for the whole K-12. Well, one of them is more on the K-9, and the other one is K-12. And then another company that we are discussing right now, the collaborations, who makes the same kind of things, but also makes the administrative instruments, digital instruments, like, for example, grades and connection to being present in the classroom or not, all these kind of things that is behind the digital materials, all the things that the instruments that the digital platform that the teachers use more than the students.
And well, I will ask you a question that we asked before other members when we had our introductory call. What do you expect from the European EdTech Network? So how the EETN as a network could help you in your projects?
Right. As I said, I think it's like, even listening right now, all the presentation, I can see that there are things that we can do together, you know, for example, connection to different companies that we didn't think of before, or different projects that we can do together, or both research and applied, more technical research and applied research in the classrooms, but also about the fact that, you know, you have different master programs, and I think that's one synergies that should definitely be explored more, how we can share these kind of resources, especially when, I mean, at least our masters is completely online. So it doesn't have limitations on being present on campus. So, you know, teaching and sharing lessons and the students, it would be a great But I think very much also on the research side where we can find some collaborative projects where we have maybe an EU applications or, I mean, on research, not just innovations or development, but just on the research part of side. So since I know the digital competencies is a because of the corona, it's been exploding in our hands, and now everyone wants to do this kind of research. And we need to know, all the tools that we create, do they really bring any impact in education? We know the books works, we know the workshops works, we know that the most important things in learning is the teacher, but how do we know that educational technology that we can bring it into the classroom and make impact with that? So that kind of research is needed.
Definitely.
Both the companies that need to know if they are doing good technology, but also if we actually do bringing benefits and values to teachers and students.
Absolutely. And maybe we should ask Peter, who unfortunately left us already, but we should ask Peter to organize one of these workshops that he's doing so that we'll identify the most painful problems and be able to solve them. I see another question from Andreas. Could you tell us some metrics from your analytics research that you should keep an eye that we should keep an eye on?
Artemis, would you like to answer the question? You are the expert.
Yeah, actually, regarding to the analytics research in the part I work on it, we actually work with different machine learning algorithms and different data mining algorithms like clustering, like network analysis, and so on, that give us this chance to actually see what we have in the data set, to understand better the data. So this part is the most important part, because when the people don't have any view about the data, it could be so hard to try to analyze and try to understand and try to improve it. So this is the most important part regarding to analyzing the data. And later, the plan is to try to create and develop some visual learning analytics dashboard that can be usable for teachers and even for students to try to help understand better the students, the performance, their activity. So this is a goal from the technical part. So yeah.
Yeah, the dashboard that Artemis has done so far is very complicated. I mean, very advanced. So it's not anything that a teacher could possibly use, but those are actually of benefits to the companies making the tool, because those are, then you can see lots of things happening with the data and you can understand what kind of data you have. So those are things that we are giving back to the companies.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you, Artemis, for stepping in and answering. And very nice to meet you.